The aim of this individual is to find information and make it controversial and pass it on as absolute truth to gain people's attention. This is dangerous, especially if you are a vulnerable person. No one will know the truth of our origin for certain until we move into a journey in the afterlife. I'm going to give you a little information below to get you thinking and seeing what this person is trying to convince you of. Yes, the Bible is a book that is given to us not in its entirety, and a lot of it has been changed, manipulated, or simply lost in translation. Yes, there are a lot of other historical correlations about Jesus' identity. However, one thing I know for sure, it's not what she's trying to make you believe. Basically here, she's calling Jesus Samyaza, which has also been referred to as Lucifer and Satan in other speculative write-ups, due to the fallen part and corrupting humanity. Not so sure that offering us knowledge of agriculture, construction, etc. is corruption, but simply advancement of the species. I would call it progress, but that is a subject for discussion for another time and in another forum. So what do we know about Samyaza? Well, in one of the apocryphal writings, Book of Enoch, he was the leader of a rebellion known as Holy Ones or Renegades, sons of God. These were a group of angels who came down to earth to watch over humanity and became known as the Watchers. As we're told by other theories, historical data, accounts, and extraterrestrial or ancient knowledge, humanity received a multifaceted advancement by interacting with these beings who came from the stars or heaven. The story goes that the Watchers were tasked with guiding and teaching humanity, but in time they fell in love with mortal women and became consumed with lust for them, so they created a body for themselves in order to interact and copulate with earth women. By this action, they entered into machinations against heaven in order to consummate their sinful desires, fell, hence the term fallen angels. We all know the theory of how giants came to be, right? The forbidden union of gods and human women. Well, Samyaza can also be found in the Book of Giants, and it says that he fathers two half-breed giants, sons, Ohiha and Ahiha. I'm sorry, but I do not buy what she's selling. One thing I agree with her though, you must be responsible for your own sins. So hopefully she'll start being accountable for her own and start apologizing to all that she's hurt. It's a long list, so better get going. Whether or not Jesus' accounts are correct or we believe in the Bible, let's stay with this for one moment and point out the obvious. For what little we know about Jesus, one thing is clear to me. He was meant to be an example to humanity. He sacrificed his life to open up a gateway for our liberation so that we also could go straight home, but we had to learn and follow some rules of life. He gave us a blueprint to help us to correct the error of our ways. He was sent to get us thinking, seeing, being the better version of ourselves. We know this because of his words, his teachings. He was showing us the way. Those who wanted to see saw. The kingdom is within us, which means we always have the key to our home. How we get there depends on our behavior and our behavior towards others. If we learn to forgive not only others but also ourselves and then show others the way, we too get to go home. Just like Dorothy always had the means to get home, she simply needed to realize it, but in order to do so, had to go onto a journey of discovery, learning and challenges. That's simply our life's journey. One more point. Jesus was never meant to take everybody's sins. That would be tasking, as we are all in charge of ourselves. This is why we have good and evil. Having said that, it's yin and yang, two polar opposites that interact with each other and are needed for our growth in our plane of existence. We are all light and dark, coexisting for our soul advancement. How we use them, it's what makes the difference. Dark, bad, it's not only negative, just like light and good is not always positive. For example, you can give your heart and go over and above to help someone, but in the end, you're causing harm because they do not learn their lessons, so cannot grow. Or two, you can say no and step back and allow that person to get in trouble in order to learn. You see the difference here? The goal is to learn how to use both for good and not evil. That's the challenge we are all facing.